Hello, today on Women in the Driver's Seat, we are going to be speaking with the incredible shining star of our Sylvania School Superintendent, Dr. Veronica Motley. Let's get going. We are with the incredible Dr. Veronica Motley of our Sylvania Schools. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm hoping that you could tell us a bit of history about our Sylvania Schools.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. And thank you for this opportunity. I want to say that first and foremost. Our Sylvania Schools was originally established in 1841. And since then, the school district has been the center of the community. And although we were founded during a time when there was a lot of farmland, and we know now in 2023, we're about landlocked. We have very little farmland. There's a tremendous history and a sense of value for education in the Sylvania community. First and foremost, many may remember the original Sylvania School building, and that was the Burnham building that was built in 1927. And it finally closed, I believe, in 1960 with its last graduating class. Ironically, it was later demolished, which was a sad time for it to be torn down, but it made room for another building, which was Maplewood Elementary, that sits downtown Sylvania. Sylvania also, our Sylvania Schools, consist of two high schools, both Northview and Southview. Northview was originally called Sylvania High School, believe it or not, and then it transitioned to Northview High School, I want to say around 1976, and then also Southview High School also opened in 1976 as well. So we have a long history of growing and adjusting to the size of our community. Right now, we are 12 buildings strong. We have 7 elementary schools, 3 junior high schools, and 2 high schools. And if you notice our emblem, it really consists of the star that has always been part of the logo, if you will, for Sylvania Schools. Historically, there's always been a star, and you'll see yellow faces north for Northview. Southview is the orange arrow at the bottom, and then always aiming high. We kept the blue because we are always aiming high and for the stars for our children.
Yes, I know my graduates of the Sylvania Schools are aiming high, and we got a great education here. How long have you been steering the Sylvania Schools?
Proudly, I am in my 3rd year, entering into my 4th year here in Sylvania Schools. Ironically, I started under COVID. First day of employment was August 1st, 2020. It was a unique time because I was interviewed via Zoom, went through the whole process via Zoom, and ended up relocating here over the summer. Trying to buy a house under COVID was an interesting situation to maneuver, but I've proudly been a Sylvania resident for 3 years now and entering my 4th year.
Oh, it's great. I understand the challenges that accompany COVID, but what are some of the other challenges you face as superintendent, and perhaps some of the most rewarding aspects of what you do?
I would say some of the most significant challenges were really around number one, COVID, and bouncing back from COVID and giving our students and our families the support that they need and continue to need in some regard. Just, I would call it the residue of COVID, and helping our students really maneuver not only the demands of school, but some of the social emotional challenges that we have unfortunately seen as a part of our new normal sometimes. So that's one challenge for sure. Another challenge, quite honestly, is social media and maneuvering social media. There's a lot of stories out there that display an inaccurate vision or picture of our school district. And we spend a lot of time sometimes demystifying what's out there on the web page or on Facebook. That's also a challenge. And I also think keeping current and making sure that we are taking a constant audit of our programs and our instructional practices, and continuing to be trendsetters in how we provide educational opportunities for our children to make sure they are future ready. One aspect of that right now, a prime example, is AI, artificial intelligence, and how are we going to adjust to that tool that's out there in industry and how it will have an impact on the classroom teaching and learning. So just the constant change of trying to be in front of what the trends are academically and research-based, and making sure we give the very best to our students.
Wonderful. Would you encourage a young woman going into this line of work?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Being a superintendent, and let me start before being a superintendent. Being an educator is the most rewarding, fulfilling career that anyone can choose, but more importantly, for a woman to have an influence of other children in a classroom, perhaps outside of the ones just in her home or in her family, but be able to touch lives of children and see that growth and be able to impact not only those in their classroom right now, but for generations to come. Another aspect that I would say would make it rewarding for women in the field, it's a family-friendly occupation. It is child-centered. You use tools and have access to opportunities for your own children, but also helping parents parent and helping grandparents parent, and also being able to take advantage of the variety of partnerships that are in our community. If it's Sage Yard, if it's Pacesetter Park and our athletic programs or our academic enrichment opportunities, as an educator, you get to be a part of that. And the one thing that is so magnificent about Sylvania Schools, we have multiple generations of educators that not only have gone to Sylvania Schools, but their parents or their grandparents have gone to Sylvania Schools.
Oh, I love that.
And many a times, they are also educators from educators from educators. So we're talking multiple generations of educators here in the Sylvania Schools. So that within itself speaks a lot about not only the quality of education we provide in Sylvania, but the power of being an educator. So absolutely, I definitely would encourage women to go into this field.
Wonderful. I know the Sylvania Schools does so much for the community, but what are you most proud of?
Most proud of the fact that we can continue the tradition of excellence in our community. And what I mean by that is I just had the absolute pleasure of participating in 2 graduation ceremonies this past Sunday. Nearly 700 students are leaving our high schools and going out into the world and ready to make a difference. It's the next part of their journey. And that's what I feel is the biggest accomplishment, that we as a school district are able to give back to our community. Future-ready graduates that have a well-rounded education, that if they choose to go to college, into the workforce, or into the military, they have the tools after they walk across the stage to be successful with whatever choice they choose to take, whatever pathway. And that's what's rewarding. Again, nearly 700 students are now off on their next part of their adventure, and to be a part of that is so rewarding.
Well, you got some shining stars. What is the one piece of advice you would give a woman who would dare to get behind the wheel of a business or an organization?
Take a chance on yourself and bet on yourself. Opportunities may come your way, and you may, as many women do, they may look at a job description, and research says this. Women tend to look at a job description that may have 10 items listed, and they'll say, oh, I only have 8 out of 10. I can't apply for that job. I'm not ready. Yes, you are. Take a leap of faith, bet on yourself. If you have 4 of the perhaps qualifications, or 6 of the qualifications, go for the opportunity. Walk through the door that's opened. If nothing else, you'll learn something from the experience, but even more importantly, you may land that position. And one day, you may see yourself in the superintendent's chair of a great district such as Sylvania Schools, and just be so fortunate to make an impact for future generations, and also serve as an excellent role model for young women who are in our school buildings today.
Phenomenal advice. And Dr. Motley, it was an extreme pleasure being with you today. It was
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for being so inspirational and inspiring women and everyone. And thank you again.
Absolutely. The future is female.
Thank you, Dr. Veronica Motley, Superintendent of Sylvania Schools, for sharing the past, the present, and the future of where this incredible school district is going. Let's hit the road and find our next women in the driver's seat.